Alrighty, this is the Sweet People News. One more time at it. Yep, that's right, doing it again. Okay, never look straight forward, always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Siri. Alright, you know how this is. Arm yourself with knowledge, people. Use that Second Amendment. Okay, never look just straight forward, always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Now, again, this is going to be a two-part video. Why? Because it worked together. And since I don't have fancy things, I got to do all this other thingamajiggies. I got to do it my way. All right. So this actually has to apply with free speech. Okay. Whether you love him or hate him, in this case, and I don't think he's always done it, but in this particular case, does not apply to what I'm talking about with this other video I'm going to show. But free speech is still free speech. It's just a different avenue of what he's talking about than what the other video is going to show. But it's still within the guidelines of the First Amendment. But what actually is the end of the First Amendment according to the courts? Not according to me, but according to the courts. Let's educate ourselves, shall we?
These people have a right to say that. Here is, you can't cry fire in a crowded firehouse. I don't know. They were just in a courtroom saying,
I don't know, people. It's either bad timing on my internet or it's just a YouTube thing.
We should kill people like him. I don't know. Here is the actual court ruling. This is from 1969. Court said there's a two-pronged test to evaluate speech. One, speech can be prohibited if it is, quoting, directed at inciting or producing imminent lawless action. Now, you could say, why are we...
Now, wait a minute. Intimate. That is the key word there. Intimate.
Have a vigilante. Why don't we kill people? That is inciting. It is. Inciting people to go and take lawless action. But it isn't imminent lawless action. If somebody then picked up guns and started mowing down black people or white people or people that have bad acne or perfect faces or whatever it is, then that speech, he would be responsible for it. But the court says it is such a fine line here that you have to go so far before your speech is banned. It has to be, one, directed at inciting or producing imminent lawless action, and two, likely to incite or produce such action. Two standards. Both of them have to be met. I am only spitting this out because I hate what these people have.
All right, we don't need to go any further. He opposed free speech. He hated what the people said due to free speech, but he still has to uphold the free speech, basically. All right, so most of you guys already know this guy here. Here's the deal. All right, if you don't,
hey, I'm Steven
go check
Cars,
him out.
co-founder of King of Pops. Zero makes it super easy to stay on top of your cash flow.
All right, if you don't know Here's the Deal, go check him out, okay? He's got some great content, and it's highly educational because he also thinks outside the box. Just saying. All right, he challenges everything, and that's what we all should do and not go by hearsay. Okay? So, let's get this up, volume up. Where we at?
A denied depose. Local police...
Let's go here. Of course. I pay extra for good internet, and I'm not getting it. So I'm going to have to call them tomorrow and find out what the blank is going on. Okay? So, anyway, the issue is we have a tendency to use our free speech in a minimum area. We do not challenge ourselves up to the peak of our First Amendment. We don't challenge ourselves to read how to petition a monstrance to have judges impeached. We don't have, you know, we got religious people out there calling cops on a guy using free speech, which, by the way, religious is in the First Amendment. So we got a First Amendment contradicting another First Amendment. Let me see if I can redo this.
Boston said, delay, deny, depose. Local police made contact with Boston at her home shortly. Her name is Brianna Boston. She's 42 years old. Boston said, delay, deny, depose. You people are next. Near the end of her call with the insurer, which had recently denied her claim according to the affidavit. You want to know who the real criminals in this saga are? The real criminals in this saga are the health insurance companies who said they'd do something for somebody and then didn't follow through with it and dropped the ball on it, which in turn, according to statistics, leads to massive amounts of death.
And the paperwork that you guys get, even if you read the whole thing, is so absolute vague and ambiguous, absolutely, that an average man and woman cannot read it and comprehend it and understand it, which means it's not a valid contract. Just saying.
Those are the real criminals in this scenario.
The judge today setting her bond at $100,000, even referencing the state of the country right now after the United Health tragedy.
Charges written for it to kill or injure, conduct a mass shooting, or an act of terrorism as a second-degree felony, punished by 15 years in Florida State Prison. I do find that the bond of $100,000 is appropriate considering the status of our country at this point.
But despite the national...
And I'm going to pause right there and we'll finish this a little bit up again. Due process. The judge literally went by her feelings. Not by the law. Not by due process. But by her feelings of something in a totally different state, y'all. I think. I may be wrong. Verify that, okay? But, argument's sake, she read something. She had problems with her insurance company and pretty much said the same words and all that kind of stuff. It is not the brightest thing to do, no. Especially after this, no. But, this was an unlawful, okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice, okay? This is only in my opinion, but this was a lawful judgment from the judge, and she is not being partisan. Bipartisan. All right? She's been one-sided off her feelings. This is not okay, people. And too many of them are doing feelings, just like the feeling officers.
Now, 3 kids, let's just go back to this lady and look at her face. What the heck? She's like, what the heck? 3 kids depend on her for their lives. Dad probably has to work. They probably are living paycheck to paycheck like 76% of Americans, and they can't afford childcare. This is basically going to destroy this woman. The court system's lack of respect for First Amendment freedom of speech rights. The law enforcement's willingness to flatten our rights like a pancake at the drop of a hat, and then a judge saying that, issuing a warrant, if that's what's really happening. If a warrant was issued, and I wouldn't doubt if the FBI called the Lakeland Police Department, they probably called a judge and said, hey, we got a call from the FBI, you need to issue a warrant, and the judge probably did, because they roll over. The judge should have said, wait a second, okay, so what's the probable cause that she committed a crime? She said the dreaded 3 words. She said, you people are next. Okay, where's the threat? Where's her saying, I'm going to make sure you people are next, or I'm going to come down there? Does Brianna Boston even know who she was talking to specifically to issue that threat? Do we know if Brianna knew if the person at the other end of the line, what state they were even in, or what call center she was calling into? How can you expect me to issue a warrant when you haven't given me probable cause that a crime has been committed? That's what the judge should have said. And even if the judge issued the warrant, the police captain or sheriff or whoever should have looked at it and go, wait, where's the crime? Who's the victim? What's going on here? And then the prostitutes of Fake Stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird MK Ultra Media start calling her a copycat killer or a wannabe copycat killer or somebody who issued threats, just completely slandering this lady.
On $100,000 is appropriate considering the status of our country at this point.
But despite the national headlines, I spoke with a lawyer.
Because of the status of our country, I'm going to go ahead and put your bond up to $100,000. That's not just. Who cares about what the status of the country is? Why don't you look at the facts of the case? And based on the facts of the case, not the status of the country.
And we're going to challenge that even a little bit further. And again, I talked about this before. The 8th Amendment. Reasonable judge, comprehend reasonable. Okay? If she's a multi-millionaire, great. But if she's making $20,000 a year to take care of her kids and she doesn't have a penny to her name, $100,000, that's not reasonable. Okay, getting overexcited.
Or the fear level, or the outrage, or the people's anger, or what recent unfortunate event just happened. Why don't you just take the facts of the case? Is this real? This judge should lose her job at the...
And not only that, which prosecutor brought this in as well? Why they even proceeded forward in this? So we got this whole system of violating the First Amendment. And we just did a video extended to this, clarifying exactly the process. And it's completely thrown in the trash. And they turned around and used it as they went to the bathroom to clean their tushy. That prosecutor did. They just took a piece of that paper. The officers took a piece of that paper. The judge took a piece of that paper. And they all had to take a potty break. So, why not? Because right next to the trash can right there is the Constitution that they're violating. And right on the other side, somebody just threw due process out the window. Okay. Sorry, y'all. This will be the People News. Till next time. Well, let's say
very minimum. And if she goes to jail for a day and 12 months, depending on the severity of the crime done by the police officer or the judge or the lawyer.
Here today who says these charges are too extreme.
I think it's an overcharge. In reality, there's nothing in her communication that specifically says she's going to commit a mass shooting. I think it's more falls on that free speech line, on that protected speech, although stupid, although ignorant, something you shouldn't say. The law allows you to say stupid, ignorant things, and even violent things, as long as it's not what's called a true threat.
That attorney went on to liken Brianna Boston's...
Yeah, intimate. Learn these words, people. Intimate. intent. These are words that they are completely ignoring you so they can correct revenue while they're violating your rights. This will be the People News. Bye.